What was the battle that ended Napoleon's reign? It was the Battle of Waterloo. As the sun rose on the 18th of June, 1815, the air was thick with anticipation. The French army, led by the formidable Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, squared off against the Allied forces, primarily the British and Prussian armies, under the command of the Duke of Wellington and Field Marshal Blücher, respectively. The day began with Napoleon initiating an early morning assault, a bold move intended to unsettle the Allied positions. The French forces surged towards the farmstead of Hougoumont, a strategic site that would see heavy fighting. The Allies, however, were prepared. They met the French onslaught with a fierce resistance, turning the tranquil countryside into a battlefield. This initial engagement set the tone for the rest of the day. The French had made their intentions clear, and the Allies responded in kind. As the morning wore on, it became clear this was not going to be an easy fight for either side. The battle intensified with relentless cavalry charges. The plains of Waterloo echoed with the thunder of hooves as the French cavalry, led by the audacious Marshal Ney, launched attack after attack. Yet for every wave of French horsemen, there stood an unyielding wall of British infantry. Wellington's men, arranged in disciplined squares, proved to be an effective deterrent, repelling the cavalry onslaught with steady volleys of musket fire. Simultaneously, the French made repeated attempts to seize the farmhouse of La Haye-Sainte, a strategic position in the heart of the battlefield. The struggle was fierce, the fighting brutal. The farmhouse changed hands several times throughout the day, each capture and recapture marked by a surge of triumph or a gasp of despair. Finally, after hours of intense combat, the French were able to secure La Haye-Sainte. The fight for La Haye-Sainte marked a turning point in the battle, but the day was far from over. Just when the situation seemed dire for the Allies, an unexpected reinforcement arrived. In the heat of the afternoon, a new force appeared on the horizon, the Prussian army commanded by the tenacious Field Marshal Blücher. The arrival of these fresh soldiers was an unforeseen twist, one that Napoleon had not accounted for in his battle strategy. Their presence on the field not only bolstered the weary Allied forces, but also added a new dynamic to the unfolding drama of the Battle of Waterloo. The Prussian intervention was a game-changer, shifting the momentum of the battle. Their fresh troops and strategic positioning began to apply significant pressure on the French lines, forcing Napoleon to divide his focus. This pivotal moment saw the balance of power teetering precariously, and the direction of the battle began to shift. The tide was turning, and it was turning against Napoleon. With the Prussians joining the fray, the tide of the battle began to turn. With the Prussians on the field, the Allies launched a coordinated counterattack. The British and Prussian forces, unified in purpose, bore down on the French army. The French, already fatigued from the day's relentless fighting, found themselves cornered in a two-front assault. The relentless pressure from the Allies was too much for them to bear. The once mighty French army began to waver, then crumble. Victory was slipping from Napoleon's grasp. The battle that started with the promise of French dominance ended in their defeat. The Emperor, once invincible in the eyes of many, was dethroned. Napoleon's dreams of ruling Europe were shattered, and he was forced to abdicate. The man who once commanded armies was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena, his reign of power brought to a sudden and humbling end. The Battle of Waterloo marked the end of the Napoleonic era and had significant consequences for the future of Europe. It stands as one of the most important battles in history.